As a teenage boy growing up in North Carolina, fascinated by the military, ancient mythology, and all things science fiction, I felt like Stargate SG-1 was a television show created by the gods themselves. It was as if somebody had looked inside my soul and hand-tailored an intelligent and compelling tale of galactic exploration that was relevant to my own life as well as the world around me. At the time, I assumed that SG-1 resonated with everyone because of that exact medley of cinematic elements. But as I came of age and spent more time interacting with other Stargate fans, I discovered that SG-1 was appreciated through a variety of lenses. For some, the militarism of the show, which was my favorite element, was tangential and unnecessary. SG-1 was strongest in its scientific pursuits, not locked in a war with the Goa'uld system lords. For others, the archaeological and philosophical inquiries held the secret to Stargate's greatness, while for me, such threads functioned as a speed trap for the intergalactic action that I so desperately wanted to see. And the same thing happened with Stargate Atlantis and Stargate Universe. I fell in love with characters and storylines that made other fans want to chuck their remote at the television, and vice versa. I remember watching new episodes of Stargate Atlantis or Stargate Universe back in the 2000s, and hurrying over to the Gateworld forum, excited to share my glowing verdict with other fans, only to find the discussion threads ripe with frustration and anger over what they saw as a terrible episode. Long story short, we were all passionate about Stargate, but for vastly different reasons. And this got me asking, what does it mean for a show to be Stargate? Is there any way to quantify why it's so popular on a global scale? And why does fandom feel a kindred connection to this franchise, despite having such a diverse and eclectic fan body? Having taken many years to reflect on these questions, I want to finally present my thoughts on what I think made Stargate so successful, as well as what defines its unique creative fingerprint. And as we look to the horizon and anticipate the full-fledged return of the Stargate franchise, now is the perfect time to reaffirm why these stories have such profound and personal meaning. Number 1. Found family. While many a franchise focuses on the generational struggles of family, Stargate chooses to highlight non-familial bonds that, through powerful shared experiences, become just as strong and unbreakable as blood ties themselves. You have characters like Teal'c, an enemy soldier who listens to his conscience and betrays his god just to save a group of strangers, and finds a new home with those very same people, one which will last him a lifetime. You have Eli Wallace, an MIT dropout on the road to nowhere who discovers his better self through the friends and mentors he meets on the Destiny, a boy who becomes a man, and a brilliant mind who becomes unafraid to step up and recognize his own potential. Samantha Carter and Jack O'Neill also come to mind, two dedicated military professionals who learn to trust, guard, and yes, even love each other, leading by example and setting the tone for Stargate Command. And the list goes on. Taylor Imogen, Daniel Jackson, Vala Maldoran, John Shepard, Rodney McKay, Chloe Armstrong, all characters who find renewed purpose and life-changing friendships through their involvement in the greater Stargate story. And writer-producer Joseph Malazzi recently raised this point in an interview with Stargate Command. He said, viewers tune in for the hook, but they come back for the characters. Whether it was the SG-1 team, the Atlantis expedition, or the crew of the Destiny, they were like a second family that viewers checked in with time and again. The dinner scene from the Stargate Universe finale Gauntlet also comes to mind.
Well, we've been through a hell of a lot together, that's for sure. I guess it'd be easy to dwell on everything that we have lost, but I think today I would rather think about what we still have and maybe what we've gained. We're family now, whether we like it or not. Sons, daughters, sisters, even the slightly crazy uncle who, despite everything, still manages to come through for you in the end. You are the smartest, bravest, most compassionate people that I have ever had the honor to serve with. To family. Family.
A powerful moment indeed, and the end of an era that once again reaffirms found family as a core virtue of the Stargate franchise. Number 2. Ancient mythology. Though some Stargate stories focus on Earth-based mythology more so than others, each and every Stargate iteration possesses a profound and unbreakable connection to the history of our home planet. It was truly a novel idea from original Stargate creators Roland Emmerich and Dean Devlin to introduce Egyptian mythology as a conduit to the otherworldly, but SG-1 co-creators Brad Wright and Jonathan Glassner saw something far greater in that seed of an idea. Whether it was Norse mythology, Greek mythology, or King Arthur and the Knights of Camelot, Stargate SG-1 thrived on its ability to weave a celestial tapestry that was both highly familiar yet distinctly alien. So much so that SG-1's first spin-off, Stargate Atlantis, was built entirely around the iconic Greek myth of the city of Atlantis. In a strange way, it felt like Stargate was teaching us about our own world, calling upon ancient lore to posit what realistic alien involvement in our civilization would look like. And as the characters of Stargate explore the universe, whether it's in our own backyard, in the Pegasus galaxy, or in the farthest reaches of the known universe, they're making revelations about our own identity that further invest the audience in this fictional universe. Number 3. A modern-day setting. While it's possible that Stargate will shed this mold in its future adventures, I believe the precedent exists to say that Stargate, up till now, has shown its identity within our own timeline. Series co-creator Brad Wright recently mentioned this on Twitter. He said, "The Stargate series worked because they were set in the here and now." Under his leadership, Stargate SG-1, Atlantis, and Universe all depicted real-life scientists, civilians, and military personnel operating in secret to protect humanity and expand our galactic horizons. They could be your neighbor, a passerby on the street, or an old friend from college. But above all, they're accessible and identifiable in the modern context. Furthermore, Stargate's attention to detail, ranging from up-to-date military uniforms and technology to current standards and character perspectives, gave Stargate a profound sense of tangibility. Stargate was photorealistic to the world we know, not some far-fetched science fiction fantasy set in the future, or an alternate universe that is hyper-stylized to the point of incoherence. Needless to say, Stargate's realism was a huge draw for me, and something I've heard many fans reference as a crucial identifying factor of the franchise. Come to think of it, I wouldn't be surprised if 28 levels below Cheyenne Mountain, our government is running an interplanetary Stargate program. A television show would be the perfect cover, wouldn't it?
Wormhole Extreme, coming this fall, only on...
Number 4. Exploration. Ever since Apophis made a surprise incursion into Stargate Command in the SG-1 pilot Children of the Gods, Earth wasted no time in developing a Stargate program that would utilize the Milky Way Gate network to surveil and eliminate threats to our homeworld. But while Stargate Command was initially a hawkish military operation tasked with the defense of Earth, it quickly took on a far more aspirational value. Exploration of new worlds became a crucial story engine to the Stargate franchise, and one that wasn't just steeped in war and combat, but intrigue and discovery. For all the space battles and visual extravaganzas that we were treated to as the show evolved, Stargate was ultimately about the relationships that were formed as a result of our heroes stepping through the gate. And Atlantis took this a step further as our heroes journeyed to a distant galaxy to discover new threats and allies alike, expanding our perspective on life and extraterrestrial cultures. And then Stargate Universe took us to zany and breathtaking new worlds on the edge of the universe as it chased down a signal from the beginning of time itself. Most importantly, however, Stargate's focus on exploration invited the audience to live vicariously through the characters of Stargate Command, Atlantis, and Destiny. Honestly, I think we all secretly hoped to be visited by General O'Neill and beamed up to the USS Hammond for the adventure of a lifetime. We love looking to the stars on a cold and cloudless night, and in a way, feel like the Stargate franchise took us to those very solar systems in the pursuit of a better tomorrow. Number 5. Existentialism. Very early on in the franchise, Stargate's television canon presented a fascinating revelation about humanity. We're not the first of our kind. Earth is just one of a vast network of human settlements throughout the Milky Way and Pegasus galaxies, and we're all descended from the great and mighty ancients. Stargate Atlantis took that revelation a step further, too, as we discovered a more sinister evolution of humankind, the Wraith. Half human and half Iratus bug, a fusion that went horribly wrong, the Wraith are known as a carnivorous race that mirror our own form, yet threaten to wipe out humanity as we know it. Further complicating matters, our team develops the ability to convert the Wraith back to human beings, raising an urgent ethical dilemma about the nature and qualifying factors of humanity. In Stargate Universe, viewers were privy to yet another existential debate, one that arose when Dr. Rush discovered the cosmic microwave background radiation, the complex signal that originated from the beginning of time itself. Such an unprecedented discovery could signify the first conclusive proof of intelligent design, but with great understanding comes great responsibility. In the words of Dr. Andrew Covell, they're going to call it proof of the existence of God, and for every politician that tries to take that and bend it for his own ends, there'll be just as many, maybe more, who try to bury it. And these are just a few of several existentialist plot threads that deserve independent inquiry and analysis. But my greater point is that, in a general and consistent sense, Stargate brought a layered and complex dialogue to its narrative endeavors, and it didn't feel the need to dumb itself down for general consumption. And by the end of its television run, Stargate had painted a spectacular portrait of a diverse and evolving universe, one that deeply satisfied the existing viewer, yet still left plenty of room for future stories. Number 6. Humor.
In the middle of my backswing!
Real life can be a downer, but Stargate never took itself too seriously, and the writers took pride in adding some levity into its storytelling. Amidst the chaos of running an interplanetary defense network, the characters of SG-1 were wry, self-effacing, and at times straight-up hilarious. It's a dynamic that could have easily become corny or insincere, yet somehow always managed to hit the tonal bullseye and complement the greater story. The same dynamic went for the crew of Stargate Atlantis, a largely civilian exploration with a one-way ticket to the Pegasus galaxy. Certainly a terrifying prospect, yet one that brought plenty of laughs in the form of the hilariously unequipped Dr. Rodney McKay, the sly and boyish Colonel John Shepard, and the comically gruff, muscly sidekick Ronan Dex. And while Stargate Universe chose a darker route, it still found its comedic balance in the character of Eli Wallace, a self-professed geek who channels the voice of the audience as he reacts to the insane happenings on the Destiny. Not to mention SGU's background players who were given their time in the spotlight once they settled into their positions on the Destiny. Lastly, we shouldn't forget about the recent Stargate Origins Catherine for its chemistry between a young Catherine Langford, Captain Beale, and Wasif. Not to mention how Wasif aptly describes his first trip through the Stargate.
Really?
Number 7. Hope. Stargate is many things to many people, but above all, I believe that Stargate embodies hope. Think of moments like O'Neill reaching out to Malachi in Window of Opportunity, showing kindness and empathy to an enemy. Think of Colonel Shepard begging Karras to reconsider his ritual suicide in Childhood's End, or Senator Armstrong sacrificing himself to save Chloe and the Icarus base survivors in Stargate Universe's Air Part 2. From the concrete halls of Stargate Command to the spires of Atlantis, and from the dunes of 1930s Abydos to the silver hallways of the Destiny, hope is found in every corner of the Stargate universe. While some shows are compelling because of their anti-heroes, Stargate thrived in its ability to highlight moments of virtue and hope, times when our heroes embrace their best selves, despite every excuse not to. Stargate is a show that you can turn on when you want to be entertained and uplifted, but equally relevant for when you want to engage in self-discovery. It has something for everyone, and it stimulates the imagination and intellect in a way that leaves a lasting impact. While the golden age of television has presented audiences with an overwhelming amount of high-quality narrative entertainment, I have yet to find a single property that replicates the magical medley and tonal balance of Stargate's sci-fi storytelling. And for that reason and many more, I eagerly look to the horizon for the return of Stargate. So that's my take on what defines Stargate, but as I said before, my opinion is just one of many, many opinions, so now it's time for you to let us know what you think defines Stargate. Leave a note in the comments section below, or send us your thoughts by tagging @GateWorld on Twitter or Facebook. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.